Hey everybody, welcome to my first knitting podcast. My name is Molly. I've been knitting since I was about 6 years old, and I wanted to show you some of the things I've been making and just tell you a little bit of my background story and why everybody should knit. So, yeah, my name is Molly. I live in Colorado in the United States. I have two girls and I have a lovely husband who supplies and supports my knitting hobby. So, yeah, I knit a lot of things for my children. I have two girls, so of course they're super fun to knit for. And one of the things that I want to show you guys some of the things I've made them. But first, let's talk about how I started to knit. So first of all, actually my mom, she crochets, and she's always crocheted. She taught me when I was about 5, I think, 4 or 5. From very young I was really interested in it, and I would always see her with a hook in her hand, and I wanted to learn. So, I remember one time we had like a motorhome and we were traveling to Montana, and I was like, hey mom, can you teach me how to crochet? And she's like, yeah. So she taught me like right there in our motorhome as we were driving. So here are some monkey pants. I made these for my first daughter. And it's like a totally just like a whatever pattern. I started from the top and then I went down and obviously divided for the legs. So I don't really have a pattern for it, and I made it out of like a Vienna's Choice yarn, acrylic yarn, but they've held up. So I love these pants. My first love was crochet, and no hate against crochet, like nothing at all. It's just I love knitting so much now that when I crochet, it's just not the same. So I do love to crochet. It has its place, especially for like blankets for me, and like quick knits and knits for other people. But on to the knitting part. How did I learn how to knit? So after I picked up crochet, my family, we went to like a lot of churches, and one of the ones that we were going to at the time, I was 6 years old, and it was a home church. So we went to this church in somebody's house, and so it was like pretty much like a small group. But yeah, I was 6 years old, and I saw this lady. She was probably like 35, and she was knitting on the sofa as the study was going. So sometime during when we were there, I went up to her and I was like, hey, can you teach me? And so it seems like from a very young age, I always was like, hey, can you teach me that? Can you do that? No one really like sat me down and was like, hey, we're going to learn this. I loved it from the beginning. And so yeah, I learned how to knit through her. I still have to get in contact with her. I think my mom has her number, and she's actually given me her number a couple times. The lady, blah, 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 can't talk. I'm a little sick, but done is better than perfect, so we're filming this video. Anyways, I have her number somewhere, and I actually need to contact her and thank her for showing me how to knit, because that's like all I do now. So, but yeah, I didn't have knitting needles. I think I borrowed hers when we went to like that small group during church and stuff. But other than that, I didn't have needles of my own. So, like the coolest thing ever, at the age of 6, I was knitting at home on colored pencils. So it was so cool. I thought it was awesome. I used to like bring my knitting places and show it off and like knit with my colored pencils. And of course, colored pencils are like pretty big, right? They're like probably like a US, like on the metric system, like a 6mm or something close to that. Maybe even bigger, actually. So I could only like really like knit worsted weight or like chunky yarn, but I was just, and it would like catch because the wood, and yeah, it was just great. So I learned how to knit on knitting needles. It wasn't until probably high school there was this class. It was like teach yourself how to knit and crochet, and it was a crochet class. But I just brought my knitting, and I was like a teacher. Not a teacher, not like officially a teacher, but a lot of my friends were like, hey, how do you do this? Hey, how do you do that? So I didn't get a lot of knitting done myself. I kind of showed everyone else how to do it, so that was really cool. But I got back into it probably around then, and then I went to college, and it kind of like drifted away a little bit. I wouldn't say I really got back into knitting until I had my first child, and they told me on the ultrasound she was gonna be a boy, and so at the time I was crocheting a ton of boy stuff, like browns and grays and stuff, and it was so hard to find cute patterns for boys. I know they're out there, it's just I haven't looked that much. But then, so surprise, she was born like 3 years ago and she was a girl. So I probably started like knitting for her when she was probably like 9 months. 9 months to a year. Motherhood, it took a while for me to get acquainted, and I just didn't really have a lot of downtime. So yeah, that's when I got back into knitting. I've just been like flying off my needles ever since. Around my house, I just have projects everywhere. But yeah, I keep holding up this hat and flopping it around. Sorry. I want to show you some of the things I finished. This is probably like 0.05% of the things I've finished, but these are some of my favorites. So here's this hat. The pattern is, you can buy it. I wrote everything down. I can't pronounce it, but it's the Schwimmen hat. I don't know. I'll post it below. But this is the hat, and I forgot who it's by. I'll also post that below. But I love this hat. I made it out of the Malabrigo Aryyo. Anyways, it's by Malabrigo. It's 100% superwash merino, and it's in the colorway Sunset. That like really pretty orangey yellow, almost like mustard, but a little bit more orangey. So I love this hat, and I actually finally for the first time just blocked it. I really like that one. I started knitting this actually on the way back from Florida when me and my husband went to Florida. So it's probably about, isn't that cool? It's like a little flower type thing. It's probably about, I don't know, just a couple years old, but I really like that one. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so for my first daughter, her name is Oakley. This is something I made for her. This is the violet dress, and this is the violet dress by Shelby Dyas. I'm sorry if I'm butchering names. I've not had that much sleep with a young child who's nursing. But, so it's made out of like a DK bamboo and wool yarn, and it's pretty much a simple dress. So you knit it in the yoke right here, and then you split it for 2 pieces, and then you rejoin about here, and then you just add so many darts. So it's such a cute dress on her. She can spin in it, and it's just, oh, it's so cute. And it fit for a long time because you know how knit stretches. I love this dress. The pattern though is made for a worsted weight yarn. I just used DK because my first daughter, she was like super skinny and stuff, and she's very tiny. So I used a DK and it turned out perfect, and I would say she's just now not being able to wear it, but she wore it for like a year, and she still wears it sometimes. So actually, yeah, that's one of my other ones. The one after that, this is another knit for Oakley, my oldest. This is the Rye sweater from TinCanKnits, and it's actually the FLAXLight. So it's like a fingering weight yarn. This yarn was by Katia, and it's fair cotton. It had like a self-striping rainbow, and I loved it, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh, and they were like, you could knit a whole children's sweater out of this. You know, 4 years old, I was like, dude, sweet. So I actually have a ton left over in the gray color, but yeah, this is it. I really like it. I get a lot of compliments on this garterage, especially from my friends with other kids, just because it's so like striking, and I just think it's like really modern. So it's such a good easy one. If I were to do it again though, I would definitely like probably go down a needle size for the neckline. I don't like necklines that are like falling off. I like them to be kind of a little bit more snug up to the neck. So yeah, FLAXLight by TinCanKnits, and yeah, in the rainbow Katia fair trade cotton. Oh, and it's organic cotton, because that totally matters, but it does. So yeah, moving on. All right, my leg is falling asleep. Hopefully you guys can still see me. Okay, good. Y'all can still see me. All right, so this one is one of my favorites. I made this for my second daughter. Her name is Tegan, and I made this, I can't remember if she was already born. I think she was already born. But this little dress, as you can tell, I love making dresses. I feel like they just last such a long time. They can be like a tunic once they get a little shorter and they're stretchy. So, and as babies learn to crawl, they tend to like lean out and stuff. So, excuse me, I'm a little sick, but we're making this video. Done is better than perfect. So this pattern is Baby Acacia by Georgie Hallam, or Hallam. Sorry, Hallam, and I'm butchering these, I'm sorry. But I love this. It's actually a tank top. So it was supposed to kind of go down to like about right here, but I just started adding darts. I would say right here. And I increased 8 times 2. I increased 16 stitches every inch after a certain point, and I just love it. It has like oh my goodness. It has gathered pleats right here. Those took forever because you have to do front and back. It's reversible. Or not reversible, but yeah, you can wear it either frontwards or backwards. But those took forever. But it was so worth it. I love this dress on her. It's my favorite thing I've probably ever knit for any of my children. And yeah, the yarn is, it's the colorway Artifact by Hedgehog Fibers. I love their yarn. This is their sock base. It's a 80% merino, superwash merino, and then a 20% nylon. And this is Hedgehog Fibers as well. It was just a mini skein. I forget the colorway. I think it was just hot pink. But I love, love, love this colorway, guys. It spoke to me at my local yarn shop, and then I left without buying it, and then I had to go back and buy it like a month later because I was like, you know when you just can't forget about yarn? Yeah, I'm crazy. So, okay, the next one, I'm just going to show you guys some baby socks because if I showed you everything I ever made, it would be a very long and boring video. But this is also by Hedgehog Fibers. This is their colorway. It's also their sock base. The fingering weight sock base, merino and nylon. It's fool's gold. I love this colorway. I have a funny story to tell. Okay, so I love this colorway so much. Like, I bought 2, by the way. I bought 2 cakes of it, or 2 skeins, had them rolled into cakes, and the other sock is missing. Oh crap, it's missing. Oh no. But anyway, I got 2 skeins of this yarn. I used one for some pants for my daughter. Those are finished as well. Some are in the house. And then I still have a cake left over. So I love this colorway. I had a photo shoot, like it was a DIY, and put my phone in my window, put it on a timer. But yeah, snap some pictures. I had a photo shoot with this yarn cake. And oh my gosh, I put it on like one of my knitting groups, and I was like, you guys, I love this yarn. Had a photo sesh with my favorite fiber cake, and it was hilarious, and I don't know what came over me, but I was just like in the photos like kissing this yarn cake and like making funny faces and like acting like I was in love, because I really am. It's such a cool color. But yeah, so I love this yarn. It's Hedgehog Fibers. I love you. Favorite at the moment. This is also Hedgehog Fibers, like this light pink. Again, it was, I forget what colorway it was, but I had a huge skein of it as well. But yeah, socks, baby socks, best gift ever. I still can't figure out how to get them to stay on, but that's okay. Moving on, some more baby socks. These are Nerd String, and I think Fire Burst or Sunburst, something like that. I forget the name of it. And before I forget, this pattern, shoot, I forgot the name, but I will post it in the description below. It has an Aryyo the Partridge heel. Yeah, it has Aryyo the Partridge heel, and I love that heel, but I forgot the name. This one was kind of like I made it up as I go. I kind of just measure my kid's foot or my foot, and I just kind of make it to their measurements, I guess. But it's a 2x2 rib with like a garter heel and then just a classic heel flap and gusset turn. So, last pair of socks. You guys, these are so ugly. And they're only ugly because they've lasted forever. But I feel like I would be sinning if I did not mention it because they've held up so well through like 3 kids, and they were like gifted to somebody, like one of my sisters for her children, and they went through the washer and dryer multiple times, I'm sure, and then they were gifted back to me, and then my little my second born wore them like forever. So some more socks. But the yarn is, you guessed it, it's Croy 4-ply sock yarn. So you can get this yarn, at least in the USA, like at a Michael's or a Joann's, and it's a 4-ply, and it's tough. It's not the softest. It's no merino, but they last forever. It's been a little while since these socks have seen better days. They are pilled, but they have lasted so long. They are so durable. Oh my gosh. So I really got to hand it to, excuse me, I got to hand it to Croy for making such a sweet, commercially available sock yarn. So I really like them. That's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on my first podcast. I can't speak, blah. And then, yeah, go ahead and subscribe, and please forgive me. Like I said, I am sick, but my husband has the 2 girls, and they're visiting their great-grandma, so I figured filming something, like being done with something, is better than having it perfect. And I just really love to knit, guys, and I love to show you my things. I love the community of knitters. A lot of my friends are just starting to pick up, like, fiber arts, not exactly knitting, but like crocheting and loom, so it's so cool to see that happening. And yeah, I better go because I'm losing my voice, but I'm gonna go. I love to knit. Goodbye. Great podcast. Oh my god.